Hello students, let's today do the first lesson of Honeydew book, The Best Christmas Present in the World. Children, whenever we do any lesson or poem, first thing we should know about the author or the poet. This lesson has been written by Michael Morpurgo, an English author, a playwright, very famous for his children's novels. His very famous novel, The War Horse, has also been made into a movie. This story is set in the background of the First World War. The scene or the event between the British and the German soldiers on the battlefield has been beautifully described and carrying a message for the readers. Now, students, let's start up with the summary of this lesson. The story begins with the author buying a cheap roll top table from the junk shop. It was Christmas time, Christmas Eve, and it is, you can say, a custom with the English people that they buy new things or they give gifts on at the time of Christmas. Though it was in a bad condition, the roll top table, the author thought that he would restore it. Maybe financially he was not in the condition to buy a new one, so he bought a second hand one. On the Christmas Eve, he started to repair it. The table was of 19th century and was made up of oak. The drawers were badly damaged due to fire and water. When the author pulled out the last drawer, he found a secret space there. In that secret space was a small tin box. On top of that box, it was written, Jim's last letter received January 25th, 1915, to be buried with me when the time comes. Inside the tin box was an envelope with the address written on it, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport. The date on the envelope was December 26, 1914. The author began to read the letter. It was written by Jim Macpherson, a captain of the English army, to his wife Connie. He had narrated a beautiful incident that took place on the battlefield on Christmas Day. It was Christmas Day and the English and the Germans were at war. Both the armies were in their respective trenches. All of a sudden, he saw someone waving a white flag from the German side. He heard German soldiers wishing them Merry Christmas. Some of the English soldiers also wished them the same. Surprisingly, they saw German soldiers moving towards them, which alarmed Captain Macpherson. He thought that it could be a trick. But the German soldiers brought canned meat and wine. The soldiers were hugging and wishing each other. Hans Wolf, a German soldier, shook hands with Macpherson. Wolf told him that he was from Dusseldorf and played cello in an orchestra. Macpherson told him that he was from Dorsey and was a school teacher. Hans Wolf told him that he knew English and Thomas Hardy is his favorite writer. In his book Far from the Madding Crowd, he has described Dorsey. Thus, he knew a lot about Dorsey from there. Macpherson offered him the cake sent by his wife, Connie. The soldiers played football together. After the match, all of them enjoyed the food and the drinks. After all this, they parted back to their trenches unwillingly. Later at night, both the armies sang carols for a while, and then there was silence. He wrote that these memories are a treasure for his lifetime and hoped that the war will end soon. After reading the letter, the author decided to return the letter to Mrs. Macpherson. He went to her house in Bridport, Dorsey, and found that it was burnt. Mrs. Macpherson, 101 years old, was inside the house at the time of the fire. The author comes to know that Mrs. Macpherson is in the nursing home. He finds her sitting on a chair there. When he called her Connie and returned the letter to her, her eyes lit up. She took his hands with eyes filled with tears and said that her Jim kept the promise. Also, she made the author sit beside her and talked lovingly for long with him. She said that it is the best Christmas present in the world. Children, the conclusion of the story, we can say, is a message that that war brings only destruction and sadness in the world. Only the path of peace will lead us to happiness and welfare of mankind. With that, we come to the end of the story, children. Now you can do reading yourself. That's all. Thank you. Happy reading.